this is water under the bridge. They don't want to have anything to do with me now.
Anybody else want to talk about anything? So I started the live stream. So if we have anybody over on, yeah, we got a few people coming in on the live stream now. All right. Yes, so we're just for all of you, so for the 65 people that are here today, you probably all have been here before, but if there's any new people, we're just sitting and having a chat with we're all friends, we know each other. We're just sitting having coffee and a bit of a chat before the meeting starts at 9 o'clock. So if you want to speak up, and as I said, if you have anything you want to talk about, any questions, I don't do negativity well, so Hewie does the complaints department, and then yeah, so we're just sitting having a chat. If you want to introduce yourself, if you're new here, yes, Bill, go ahead.
Yeah, anything new on the glucose monitoring watches?
Other than I have a new video coming out, which is done, but I haven't. Hewie previewed it last night for me, but it's. I think I'll probably show it next week. But no, nothing yet. They were waiting for the Apple. Probably it'll be September when the Apple 7 watch is going to be released, and it will have the glucose monitoring on it. I don't, we're really shot in the foot as far as Google and Samsung, because of course they've changed the operating system now and they're going with Google Wear. And so we have no idea what's going to happen with that. And I talked about that last week. So I got a feeling Apple's going to run away with the Holy Grail again. They're just going to run away with it all. So that's all I know right now. I know pretty well for sure in September we'll have, now we're going to talk about that today, but the Worldwide Developers Conference for Apple is on today. It starts right after our show. But I don't think they're going to release, I don't think they're going to talk about the Apple Watch. There's nothing on the agenda for that. I still think the release date of that will be September. So I doubt we'll hear anything more until September.
I think it's pretty nice of Apple to hold back on their presentation till after we're finished.
Yeah, well, I talked to him about it, Bob. I talked to Tim, my buddy Tim Cook, and Tim said, Ron, yeah, we'll hold off for an hour for you. So anyway, there you go.
Hey, I just ran a speed check and I'm 265. My upload speed was 25.
Yeah, that's good.
Morning, everyone.
Morning, Murray. How's things in Victoria?
Murray.
It's cold here. It's cold here.
Hey, it's still winter, but the sun's shining at least.
Yeah, my wife made me turn the heat on the house yesterday. She got up and she was just freezing to death.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was really hot last week.
Yeah. She said, I want the air conditioning on. You can't make everyone happy. It's either too hot, too cold. Anyway, it is.
Well, at least I got swimming.
I'm going to figure out what my temperature is.
Just hit the button. Yes, indeed.
I still, whenever I go to my dentist, he takes my temperature, and I always ask him if it's above room temperature.
Today, you can expect partly sunny weather with a high of 90 degrees and a low of 74 degrees.
I see Chris and Jim here. Hi, Chris and Jim. Great show on Sunday. Great show on Sunday.
Hello.
The only thing is, I'm getting sad. You're starting to travel. You're not going to do the show on Sundays as much.
Yeah, we are. Our plan is to do it normally every other week.
Are you?
Yeah.
We might have to skip one more when we're actually at the rallies. That's too tough.
Yeah.
But we will do it from the RV like we used to.
By the way, thank you again, Chris, for your Google stuff. I uploaded tons of photos and videos. I can't tell how many photos I've got on there now because it only says 20,000 plus.
Right. Yeah, Google can't count.
Never could.
Hey, Chris and Jim, are you guys with FMCA?
Yeah.
Do you belong to them?
Yeah.
So are you going to one of their rallies?
Yeah. We are Geeks on Tour because of FMCA. That's where we started in 2004.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Sit up straight in the bathtub.
Sit up straight in a bathtub? What?
Yeah, it's I belong to FMCA, and in our chapter, Southern Idaho, that's kind of a common phrase. Don't slump down in the bathroom, sit up, or the bathtub, sit up straight in the bathtub. That's just what everybody says up here. It's kind of a little.
Okay. I always said,
but why?
or a little strange, but
You don't want to know. You don't want to know.
I mean, if you're in the bathtub, the whole purpose is to slouch down in it so you get completely
Right,
covered.
yeah.
we don't have a bathtub in the RV.
Well, our motorhome has a bathtub, but it's really small. You can't even. You got to sit on top of your knees almost.
Well,
So will you be at the rally in Gillette?
No, we've quit going to the rallies because of coronavirus. We haven't went to
They
them for
stopped having
about,
rallies because of coronavirus.
yeah, we didn't
18
do any
months.
last year. But yeah,
But they're back on now.
yeah, we still don't go. I just don't want to expose myself.
no, I don't blame you.
Well, keep your pants up.
Yeah, don't slouch in the bathtub.
Yeah, it's up to you if you don't want to expose yourself. It's
Well,
Yeah,
here
so
in
what do you-
Idaho, they have less than 50% of the people with one shot, and it's on their honor. And they say you don't have to wear the mask if you have both shots. So everybody in here is not wearing masks. Leona and I are about the only ones when we go out to dinner, we have masks on. So we just quit going.
I went to a store here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida the other day, and there was a sign in the front saying, if you are fully vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. But I was pleasantly surprised to see that everybody inside still had a mask on.
Everyone does here
Good,
too.
my compliments.
yeah.
BC, I know
All over
we're
the place,
we're
though.
over 70%, I think now, of the population is vaccinated, has the first vaccination. But we're quite behind in the second ones. I don't get my second one till June 22nd.
We were fully vaccinated back in January, February.
We didn't start getting vaccines until March, except for the essential workers.
Yeah, it's all over the place. Everywhere, not just here and there. It's
I went to a dinner this week and that's what they said. You should wear, if you've been vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. There were people at the table that we said, have you been vaccinated? And they said, oh, yes. And other people told us they lie about it. They were not vaccinated. So how do you know? And you cannot ask them.
That's why in BC, they're keeping the mask thing because there's no way they don't, and the stores don't want to let go of it because there's no way they can tell whether a person is vaccinated or not.
I just carry a copy in my wallet wherever I go. I just take that with me. And if anybody asks, I'll just take it out of my wallet. I made a copy of it and here it is.
Yeah, and then there's people selling online fake ones.
Well,
Yeah, you got it. They put all the fake numbers in and play.
yeah, that's
But
how
I
I'm
don't
making
think
money
these guys
these
are
days. I'm
stupid.
printing those things. Those are very lucrative.
No comment, Mr. Brown or Dr. Brown.
Well, it's very interesting. One of the things that you have to remember is how many of you remember polio? There are,
Oh, yeah.
right, and there are still a few cases of polio around. It's pretty much eradicated, but there are. It is what it is, and there will be if you haven't had your immunization, you could get caught.
I think,
and even
United
measles
States,
measles was almost eradicated
Mhm.
for a while until people stopped getting vaccinated.
in the United States, I think there's 4 to 11 new cases each year
Of polio.
on polio. Correct.
Yeah. So it is there, and it is, and what we're going through with COVID-19. If we wouldn't remember probably because it's even before when we were kids, but our grandparents, I guess, went through this with the polio, scare and all the stuff that happened, right?
Well, I certainly did. I can certainly remember it very well.
Can you?
When one of my classmates died. But I'd say 3/4 of the kids in my neighborhood got it.
Really? Yeah.
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 And
I don't-
however, I got rescued from Cub Camp. I was at Cub Camp when it sort of really hit and they closed everything. And I really didn't like Cub Camp. And I was very happy when my folks came down and picked me up early because of the polio.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we were first in line to get the vaccine when it first came out, and I don't know, I was probably 8 years old, but it was certainly worth it. And when the second one came out, quick as possible, we leaped on that. Now it's so damn politicized. That's part of the problem.
I can remember in polio times when they showed pictures of people in their iron lung.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty
When I got out of the Army in 60, they started giving the drops in the mouth. And I remember I had my 2 boys and they put them in a sugar cube and let them suck on it.
Mhm.
The kids just loved it.
I had a friend that was in the iron lung in the early 50s. They brought the iron lung to their house and it was in the living room.
You know, hey, Huey, do you know where Bob went?
Right here.
No,
No.
Bob.
Bob
Where's
G.
Bob G. Yeah. I let a whole bunch of people. He's not, yeah, he sort of disappeared.
Whoops. He did.
We
Well,
still
there he
have room
is.
for him.
Does anyone see Bob? Where's Bob? Where are
He's
you?
there.
Where is he? I'll make him co-host.
Music Bob.
He's slouching in the bathtub.
Yeah. Where the heck did he go? Is he on? Where are you?
Yeah, he's on. He's muted, I guess. He doesn't want to chat.
No, I think he dropped off.
Oh,
I don't see him.
What's on?
No, I don't see him on there.
yeah. I just look, he's not on.
POS. Yeah.
Huey, can you keep an eye and admit people in so as they come
Sure.
in? So now, because I got to start the show in a sec. So if you could keep an eye on that, that'd be great. Thanks. I don't know. He maybe lost connection or. Very good. Well, we have what, a minute? Oh, it's 9 o'clock.
Here he comes.
Time to start. He got in. Here he is.
Yeah,
We'll admit him.
I'll make him co-host.
Can you make him co-host? Great. Good.
I think
All right,
I can. I don't know that I can.
I saw him come in.
I
Yeah.
can't. You have to.
All right, I'll do that in a minute. Okay. All right, let's get the show started. I'm going to mute all. And we'll share our screen. Share for sound. Tech for Seniors, episode 63. This is June the 7th, 2021. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming. We have 86 people online so far, and what do we got? A bunch over on our streaming service. So again, thank you for coming. Thank you for your support, because we thrive on your enthusiasm. So that's great. Now, for those of you, just go over what's happening. We have 2 streams. We have, of course, our Zoom meeting, which we have today. You all are here. You've logged in. So that the meeting will go on for about an hour, and then we have about a 20-minute question and answer period afterwards. And just prior to Ray's music section, for those of you who are over on the streaming side, over on YouTube, just prior to Ray's music section, we're going to, we'll be stopping the broadcast at that time. And if you want to, you can come back over onto our side and you can participate in the question and answer period. As you should remember, these are all taped, and you can, of course, watch our season 1 or season 2 of Tech for Senior. We have 63 episodes now, and you can watch them all online, and you'll find the information in that. We discussed that all last week. Also, to remind everybody, this Thursday is Tech for Senior Live. We have a special guest on this Thursday. This is going to be fun. It was just the 3 old guys last week, although we had a lot of fun last week. What do you think, Bob, Hewie? Didn't we have a good chat?
Yeah,
Sure
we
did.
certainly did. I think everybody enjoyed our discussions.
Yeah, we had a great time. It went by real fast. Anyway, this Thursday, we have John Kennedy on, and John's just spoke to him this morning. John's, of course, APCUG, and he does a lot of work helping seniors with computers, and of course, is a Linux expert. So we're going to have a really interesting talk on all sorts of things, because he's a very knowledgeable guy, and you know, doesn't just do Linux. So he's going to come on the show on Thursday, and we're going to have a great chat with John. So that should be lots of fun. Again, it's not a Zoom broadcast, right? So you can watch it either on Facebook or YouTube, the details of which we discussed last week, and you can watch that how-to video. It's on our service and on our site. So if you don't know how to do it, we explain that all, and we went through all that last week. So that I'm looking forward to that. Should be fun. And Bob, you know John, don't you?
Sure do. We belong to the same club.
I guess you would. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You need to
Okay.
make me a co-host.
I will. Let me just do that. We will make you a co-host. There
My
you go.
internet decided to quit just before we got
Whoops.
started. Yep.
Huh. That's not any good.
No, I'll be calling Comcast when we finish.
Yes. And tell him who you are too, right?
Yeah, right.
Tell him who you are. Yeah. Yes. Now, also, thank you so much. I want to thank everybody for the donations from Ko-fi. We of course reached our budget, and it was amazing the amount of outpouring that came, and I think I can speak for all of us at Tech for Senior. It was really an emotional time where we had no idea people loved us this much, which is great, because I like to be loved, and the more love we get, the more enthusiasm we get, and the more videos we produce. So keep the love coming. I want to thank the people who donated since last week. Now, I'm always worried about missing some people, because I just don't know how to deal with that. When you signed in with Ko-fi, if you didn't put your name in there, then we have no way of knowing who you are. So we do get a lot of donations that are anonymous. We don't know who you are. So thank you again, and thank you to these people. Mary, I don't know Mary's last name. Thank you, Mary. Barry Daphne. Thank you, Barry. John Kennedy. John, if you're here, thank you. John's going to be on the show on the Thursday. John Kennedy. And Dewey Cluse. Who's this Dewey guy? Anyway, Dewey, thank you, Dewey. And Ken Meske. Ken's, of course, in Arizona and is a member of our club. And he certainly is very active in our club. So thank you guys for that. We have reached our goal, but we will continue to accept donations through the year. Thank you so much. And that will go on to our different services we may be offering as things start to change. Again, each video we make probably takes 10 to 15 hours of hard work to come up with the videos. I know that Bob, Hewie, and I spent a lot of time at that. And again, it's very appreciative for what we do. So thank you again so much. Just to remind everybody that in fact this is being taped, and both this show and this show will be online. probably early this afternoon, and you can watch it.
Ron, are you going to mention the change in the learning Chromebooks?
Yes, that's on my list to do. So the Learning Chromebook, which you will, of course, see in the newsletter, because the newsletter went out on Saturday. And please, if you haven't subscribed to the newsletter, do so, because there are little changes that will occur throughout the year, and it's the only way we can keep in touch with you. And our Learning Chromebook session will be going to the fourth Thursday of the month. So the date will change on that. There really is nothing you have to do if you're registered. Hewie will send out the notification, and you'll get, and we'll just tell you the date and nothing. The meeting ID is all the same, but we're just going to have it on the fourth Thursday instead of the third Thursday. Anything more I need to say on that, Hewie, or is that?
No, I think that'll do it.
Yeah, that should be fine. And you don't need to do anything. If you're registered, you've had one Learning Chromebook session. We got your number on that one, right? What happened a year ago? Episode 11. There was some interesting stuff happened in episode 11. Hewie, so if you want to go back and play episode 11, Hewie talked on Google Drive. Who wants to know some more information about Google Drive? Go back. At the bottom, you'll see the timestamp. Hit Google Drive, and you can, Hewie did a really good talk on Google Drive. Bob talked on Scam Spotter. So Bob, I went on that site this morning, Scam Spotter, and you can do a little test and see how good you are at spotting scams. So if anybody wants to have a look at that, just go to Scam Spotter, and you can do the test and see how good you are at spotting scams. So thanks, Bob, for that. And of course, I talked on how to do financial transactions securely over the internet. So if you wanted to play each of those segments, that is episode 11, and that was 1 year ago. I don't think we had Ray yet. Ray hadn't joined the team, and I think and Dewey hadn't for sure. So and that was that was 1 year ago. Thanks again. Ellen, I think, is still doing a good job. She's updating our index for each year. So you can go online, as we mentioned last week, and you can do a search, and you can find all these episodes searching our past episodes. Bob, are you ready to roll?
I am.
Okay, let's go.
Here is the Avast Security News Roundup for the week ending June 4th, 2021. The White House suspects Russian ransomware group in JBS attack. At a press briefing on Air Force One, Principal Deputy Press Secretary Karen Jean-Pierre commented that JBS, the world's largest beef producer, reported that it had been the victim of a ransomware attack. JBS notified the administration that the ransom demand came from a criminal organization likely based in Russia. Jean-Pierre said, adding that the FBI and CISA were investigating the incident and that the White House is engaging directly with the Russian government on this matter and delivering the message that responsible states do not harbor ransomware criminals. I Have Been Pawned password program is now open source and accepting data from the FBI. HIBPS's Pawned Passwords code is open source and available on GitHub. The change provides transparency for HIBP and, oddly enough, opens the door to contributions from the FBI. Have I Been Pawned keeps track of data breaches and collects stolen data, allowing people to check if their email address or password have been compromised. Now that HIBP is open sourcing its pawned password code, it can accept contributions from the FBI and other organizations that may have insight into data breaches and criminal activity. In other words, the FBI isn't meddling with HIBP's code, it's just giving data to HIBP in the form of secure SHA-1 and NTLM hash pairs, not plain text. Brian A. Borndram, Assistant Director of the Bureau's Cyber Division, states that the FBI is excited to be partnering with HIBP on this important project to provide victims of online credential theft. Read more on Review Geek. TikTok quietly tweaks privacy policy to collect your biometric data. The policy change, first spotted by TechCrunch, specifically states that TikTok may collect biometric identifiers and biometric information as defined under U.S. law, including face prints and voice prints from videos users upload to their platform. The company also notes that, where required by law, it will seek any required permissions before collecting that data. On top of that, the new policy also clarifies that other data, like the nature of the audio and the text of the words spoken in your user content, might also be automatically collected. It's also worth pointing out that this face and voice related data appears under a new header in the policy, Information We Collect Automatically, which implies that TikTok might be able to hoover this data without users realizing that's what they're agreeing to. White House expands investment ban on Chinese tech and telecom companies. The Biden administration has replaced and extended Trump-era restrictions on investing in certain Chinese firms deemed supportive of that country's surveillance and military apparatus. Major tech, space, and telecom companies are listed in the initial 59 covered by the executive order, with more to come by order of the Treasury. I find that the use of Chinese surveillance technology outside the PRC and the development or use of Chinese surveillance technology to facilitate repression or serious human rights abuse constitute unusual and extraordinary threats, writes President Biden in the introduction to the order. The EO has its roots in the Trump administration's long-running and evolving blacklist of Chinese companies, whether for government procurement, private investment by U.S. firms, or other purposes. Russian hacking group poses as U.S. aid. Microsoft told NPR that it discovered a breach last week that involved hackers posing as members of the United States Agency for International Development, USAID. The attack affected about 150 organizations and may have resulted in up to 3,000 compromised accounts. Microsoft believes the Russian group Cozy Bear, also known as APT-29 and Nobelium, is behind the attack, based on the targets, human rights groups, and think tanks, and the techniques used. The breach began when the group infiltrated email marketing company Constant Contact, which has USAID as a client. Cozy Bear then compromised USAID's contact list, launching a spear phishing campaign that aimed to install malware on its victims' systems. The U.S. Department of Justice announced this week that it seized 2 internet domains that were used in the USAID spear phishing attacks. The DOJ wrote in a press release that the malware hiding in the initial spear phishing emails was programmed to reach out to one of 2 domains, the Yard Service or World Home Outlet, to retrieve the Cobalt Strike tool, a remote access tool that allows hackers to manipulate other systems. As demonstrated by the court-authorized seizure of these malicious domains, we are committed to using all available tools to protect the public and our government from these worldwide hacking threats, said Acting U.S. Attorney Raj Parekh for the Eastern District of Virginia. DarkSide faces shadow court system on dark web. Ransomware group DarkSide, which was responsible for last month's Colonial Pipeline attack, is having trouble paying debts owed to its criminal affiliates and so has set up its own court-like system for settling complaints. Plaintiffs are asked to report their grievances on DarkSide's dark web criminal forum, and admins then settle the claims in a hacker's courtroom, making cryptocurrency payments to owed affiliates from a DarkSide account they control. Cybercrime has matured so much, one researcher told the Post, there is a strange people court to dispute claims and wrongdoings in the underground syndicate. What is Amazon Sidewalk, and should you disable it? Sidewalk is a new wireless network developed by Amazon that goes into effect on June 8, 2021. It uses Bluetooth low energy combined with a part of the Wi-Fi radio spectrum in the 900 megahertz range to connect devices beyond their normal range. The advantage of using this low frequency band on the radio spectrum is that its signals are extremely robust and can move around or penetrate obstacles with ease. This means that they can travel a relatively long distance. Devices operating in the 900 megahertz spectrum also use much less energy than those working at higher frequencies. And the same is true for devices that use Bluetooth low energy technology. So by combining the two protocols along with other radio frequencies, Amazon says it can deploy a network that can link up all Sidewalk-enabled devices to create a giant network that can ensure devices stay operating more consistently and do so over longer distances. With Sidewalk, you can continue to receive motion alerts from your security camera even when your Wi-Fi goes down, or if your Wi-Fi does not reach your smart lights at the edge of your driveway. Sidewalk can help them stay connected. In the future, Sidewalk will also support a range of experiences, from using Sidewalk-enabled devices to help find pets or valuables, to smart security and lighting, to diagnostics for appliances and tools. If this extended sharing capability goes beyond your comfort zone, then you need to turn Sidewalk off. For simple to follow instructions in turning the feature off, please watch the video I created, and you can access it at the link listed. And that wraps up this week's edition of the Avast Security News Roundup. Stay safe, stay secure. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks, Bob. That's great. Kangaroo court, for the bad guys.
How about that? They're coming up in the world.
That's a hoot. Yeah, that's crazy. Now listen, so I think there'll be lots of questions about Sidewalk. So Dewey actually has done a whole segment on that, which I'm going to play you now. So it sort of dovetails with. Were you talking to Hewie? Did you guys, or Dewey? Did you guys sort of get it all sort of together, or anyway?
Yes, so, we communicated.
It's well coordinated, eh? Okay, thanks, Dewey. So Dewey's going to give. I'll play Dewey's segment now, and we will see what Dewey has to say about this. And then probably there'll be some questions, but we'll probably take those in the chats.
Good morning, friends. I'm Dewey, and my Tech Talk topic for today is Amazon Sidewalk, to disable or not to disable. That is the question. It's Saturday morning, June 5, as I'm writing this Tech Talk. I began yesterday and had all but finished by this morning when I decided to check my email and found an email from our TFS security guy, Bob G. In his email, he had a link to his Avast security update for today, the one you just heard. I watched his update on Amazon Sidewalk several times and then decided the best thing I could do was to simply start over and present additional information that might complement Bob's. My Tech Talk last week was based on an article titled Amazon is turning Echo and Ring into transmitters on June 8th. That's tomorrow. Much of its focus was on LoRa, a long-range, low-power data transmission technology used in Amazon Sidewalk. After viewing Bob's update today on Sidewalk, I realized that I needed to change emphasis for my presentation. Yesterday morning, I read a new article on Sidewalk written by Michael Franco in howtogeek.com, in which he presented a great deal of information to help users of affected Amazon smart devices when Sidewalk is turned on tomorrow, June 8th. Writer Franco says that if you have one of these Echo or Ring devices, you're agreeing to share 80 kilobits per second of your bandwidth with the Sidewalk network unless you opt out. According to Amazon, this 80 kilobits per second amounts to about 1/40th of the bandwidth needed to stream high-def video. A potential concern is that while the donation of your bandwidth to the Sidewalk network is capped at 500 megabytes per month, and if your data usage plan is very limited, you might want to opt out of Amazon's service to save giving up that half gigabyte of your data each month. While Amazon is touting the great new range and boosted uptime that Sidewalk could potentially deliver, it's important to understand that inherent in the technology is the linking up of devices that are Sidewalk enabled to other similarly enabled devices. That means, for instance, if you have a smart doorbell from the Amazon-owned company Ring, it could connect to your neighbor's Echo Dot, which then could connect to someone's tile tracker as they walk by, and so on and on. Unlike fears of Wi-Fi theft, in which someone nearby can hack into your router and stream Netflix using your signal, the 900 megahertz band cannot deliver the speeds of Wi-Fi protocols like your router's 2.4 or 5 gigahertz bands do. It's pretty much limited to sensors, lights, trackers, and things that don't require much computing power. So the risk of a serious data breach is very small. While Sidewalk won't be transmitting serious quantities of data through its rather limited pipeline, it will still transmit some data. Amazon says that all data will be sent in triple encrypted packets, and that the company itself won't be able to read the data. The company does seem to be going the extra mile to keep Sidewalk user data safe, and says that it will delete the encrypted packets of data every 24 hours. Let's not forget that Amazon is still first and foremost a giant retailer who has a vested interest in knowing how people behave. Let's also not forget a more positive side of Sidewalk. For example, I told you last week about CareBand Incorporated, a Chicago company that has funding from the National Institute on Aging and plans wristbands to help caregivers find wandering patients via the Amazon Sidewalk network. Remember also that TFS's security Bob mentioned just in the last few minutes that Amazon says it can deploy a network that can link up all Sidewalk enabled devices to create one giant network that can ensure devices stay operating more consistently and do so over longer distances. He continued by saying, also with Sidewalk, you can continue to receive motion alerts from your security cameras even when your Wi-Fi goes down. Or if your Wi-Fi doesn't reach your smart lights at the end of their driveway, Sidewalk can help them stay connected. Nevertheless, everyone needs to be aware of the reality of the situation. Laurel Walmsley at NPR.org related last week that a former high-level FTC commissioner sees Sidewalk as yet another realm Amazon is seeking to dominate. Jen King, a privacy and data fellow at Stanford, says, I feel the bigger motivation here is to create a private surveillance network. I suspect they're saying this as a real opportunity for bridging all these different Ring devices in particular. Amazon counters by saying that Customers can decide to opt out at any time. However, if you opt out, your connection won't be pooled and you can't draw from the pool either. Another writer sees it differently. He says, Amazon Sidewalk's new nationwide network could mean Amazon would be able to harvest even more location and habit data from Americans who use their services. Where are people located? Where did your dog go? Where do you go on walks? Where do you go when you're out on your run? But here's the thing. Amazon owns over 40 subsidiaries, and many are already collecting your mobility data. If you're concerned about how much new information Sidewalk could reveal, it likely pales by comparison. Regardless, if it makes you feel better to disable Sidewalk in your Echo smart speaker or your Ring doorbell, go ahead and do it by going to the device's app settings. But the fact that these smart devices default setting enables Amazon Sidewalk's network when first installed, and that many people won't bother to disable it, makes it a likely losing battle. By the way, it's a sunny late Saturday afternoon here in the Twin Cities, and the temperature at our place just reached 103 degrees. Well, that's my Tech Talk for today, and I'm sticking with it. Have a great day, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.
Let's see here. That was really good, Dewey. Well done. Excellent job. And it dovetailed nicely on with Bob's segment as well. If anyone wants to know how to disable the Amazon Sidewalk, Bob did a video on that, and I think that's available. We showed you that last week. So any questions on that, we'll take in the question and answer session. Hewie, are you ready to go with your popular, there's a whole bunch of Starlink information this week?
As a matter of fact, I am ready, but there's, and I posted the Starlink report late last night, and there's already been 300 people watched it. So I guess you're in for it.
Okay.
The Starlink report.
This is
the Starlink report.
For June 7th, 2021, I'm Hewie Poplock. On May 26th, SpaceX launched 60 satellites for Space Launch Complex 40 at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. It's the 16th launch of 2021, meaning SpaceX has launched a rocket every 9 days so far. It's the 29th batch of Starlink satellites since the 1st of May 2019, building out the firm's internet connectivity constellation. Starlink aims to offer high speed and low latency internet access almost anywhere with a view of the ground terminal. SpaceX now has launched 1,737 satellites for Starlink, with 951 operational. The Starlink satellites typically take a few months to move into position and start operations. The Starlink is already the biggest single constellation in space, but the firm has applied for permission to launch up to 42,000 satellites. Polar orbiting satellites, which will begin launching from Vandenberg in California Space Force Base later this year, will give Starlink network complete global coverage. However, it's not just SpaceX planning to launch larger than ever constellations. Other projects are planned from OneWeb, Amazon Kuiper, and GW. OneWeb's broadband constellation is set to pass the 200th mark after Arianespace successfully launched its latest batch of satellites May 28th. Arianespace launched 36 satellites on a Soyuz 2.1B rocket in Russia, which will enlarge OneWeb's fleet to 218 satellites. Amazon Kuiper. Amazon satellite internet play Kuiper is expected to be launched in India sometime next year. Those familiar with the matter have revealed pending a series of regulatory approvals like landing rights required for downlinking signals of foreign satellites into the country. Amazon is reportedly sinking over $10 billion into building a constellation of 3,236 low Earth orbit or LEO satellites aimed at beaming down internet connectivity to users. However, detailed plans for India have yet to be revealed. India, unsurprisingly, has been identified as one of the key emerging markets to launch Kuiper in, with Amazon estimating the near-term opportunity at roughly $500 million. Amazon's secretive $10 billion satellite internet program, Project Kuiper, will send its first satellites into space on 9 rockets owned by the United Launch Alliance, a joint Boeing-Lockheed Martin venture, Amazon announced in April. Questions remain as to when the rockets bearing Kuiper satellites will get off the ground. Redmond-headquartered Project Kuiper has yet to launch a test satellite, and Amazon declined to say when the UAL launch would occur. It's also unclear when Kuiper's internet network could be operational. The GW. Bao Weiman, a senior official with the China Aerospace Science and Technology Corp, CASC, China's main space contractor, made a first public acknowledgement of the mega constellation plan in an interview with the Shanghai Securities News on March 7th, stating, "We are planning and developing space-based internet satellites and have launched test satellites." A national network, Gao Company, will also be established to be responsible for the overall planning and operation of the satellite internet construction, Bao added. Both constellations announced around 2018 were to consist of hundreds of communication satellites in low Earth orbit. A handful of technology verification satellites have been launched. The CASC was planning to have an initial 60 Hongyan satellites in orbit by 2022. For those of you who are interested in spotting Starlink satellites, Find Starlink can give you a good idea when SpaceX's spacecraft will be visible in your location. It's findstarlink.com. Users can choose from a multitude of cities across the world to check out when and where to look for Starlink satellites. It'll look like this. Elon Musk announced one of SpaceX's new additions for 2022. Next year, the company's spacecraft will be launched from an ocean platform. The Deimos Ocean Spaceport is under construction for launch next year, tweeted the company's CEO. Along with the post, the billionaire shared another publication with a rendering of the spaceport over the waters, and that was in the previous slide. The site used will be one of 2 deepwater oil platforms that the company acquired last year. The vessels were acquired by SpaceX in July for $3.5 million each. And that's it.
The Starlink Report.
There you go.
Oh. So how come they're launching them over the water? What's the deal with that?
Just a different way of doing it, and less chance for it, if there should be any problems, for it to land on people or homes. And they bought those platforms, and they're going to use them right from there. And you saw a picture of what it's going to look like. He's really trying some different things, and he's
it's pretty cool.
And succeeding at it.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks a lot. Ray, you're going to tell us about vinyl records.
Yes, they're still around, believe it or not.
Yes, thank you.
Share. Bring this over here. Okay, here we go. Back to the Future. Believe it or not, the vinyl LP continues to be making a comeback. Now, who remembers the record store? I have lots of fond memories. I went to record stores when I lived in New York. There was one that was down in the Subway Arcade called Slim's Records, and that's become legendary over the years. But record stores were, to me, were really fun. You'd go in there and just rifling through to see what was new and what was available. Here is the most amazing music statistic, I believe, for the year 2020. Consider that during a year with a global pandemic and many folks being out of work, meaning they're not earning any money, American music listeners still somehow managed to spend more money on vinyl records than CDs. And this occurred, as I said, during a period when retail store closures and tours were being canceled. I'm going to repeat this. Revenue-wise, LPs outsold CDs in 2020 for the first time since 1988, a time when many experts predicted the end of vinyl. Now, this result could have been forecast as vinyl sales have been steadily growing since 2007 and CD sales have been steadily declining since 2003. And while today's trend is certainly towards streaming, those who consider themselves collectors are often opting to buy a record. Wait, did I hear someone say, what about cassettes? Cassettes are also, believe it or not, having a resurgence, with sales more than doubling from 2019 to 2020. And if this continues into 2021, cassettes will exceed the sales level last reached in 2003. But this is a different story for another time. Back to vinyl. Now, vinyl records are not cheap. Taylor Swift, I'm going to use her as an example. She has broken the record, pardon the pun, for the largest amount of vinyl sales in 1 week in the US with her latest studio album. Amazon has the 17-track Evermore available in the following formats. Now you can stream the deluxe version, that means it has explicit lyrics, with your monthly subscription to the Amazon Music Unlimited. And that's not Amazon Prime Music, that's Amazon Music Unlimited, where you have to pay for it. If you wanted to buy the audio CD, that would run you just under $14. But if you wanted to get the red colored vinyl 2-disc LP, that's $42. And if you'd like green better than red, that same vinyl 2-disc LP will run you almost $70. And here's the 4 reasons I've come up with why someone would pay the LP price. First of all, if you're a collector, you envision the LP will increase in value in the future. Often these LPs are titled limited edition, so they're not going to be around forever. Number 2, those who appreciate what the larger size of an LP package has to offer. Remember, easier to read liner notes, larger pictures. There are many people, this would be number 3, who feel vinyl sounds better than digital. And I think a lot of this just plain old nostalgia, the fun and enjoyment of putting a record on the turntable. Now, record collecting can still be a fun experience. Increased record sales must mean there's a whole new generation that is discovering vinyl. And this new generation, for the most part, are not buying brand new LPs, but instead are seeking out the resurgence in record stores. Try typing in your search engine the words independent record stores in, and then whatever city you're nearby, and see what comes up. I did this for Phoenix, Arizona, and had about a dozen results. So for the equipment, what are you going to need? Well, of course, the most important components, and this is where the name has changed over the years. My mother used to call it a Victrola. We've heard some older people recently call it a record player. Then, of course, phonograph. But today they are turntables. And the new standalone units with a built-in speaker start in the very modest $50 range, while audiophiles would be looking at easily spending over $1,000 for units that are part of a home entertainment system. But excellent turntables in the under $300 range, probably even around $150, will satisfy most buyers. Now, turntables used with an audio system no longer require that special phono jack that older receivers and amplifiers had. Now they can be plugged into the standard red and white RCA jacks. And most new turntables come with a pre-installed USB connector, so you can record in real time the MP3 files when plugged into your computer. Here's the most important part of today's presentation: Record Store Day. Record Store Day started back in 2007 as a way for these independent record store owners, the staff, customers, and artists to kind of all come together and celebrate the culture of a record store. Special releases and promotional items are made specifically for Record Store Day, And in 2021, there will be 2 Record Store Day dates, one coming up this Saturday, June 12th, and then in July on July 17th. So make a note if you're interested, www.recordstoreday.com. If you do nothing else, when our Tech for Seniors presentation is over today, just check out the above Record Store Day website to learn all about the activities taking place. And for extra credit from me, visit some independent record stores in your area and relive the fun of going through all the albums for sale to see maybe you're going to be lucky enough to find the one LP you still regret giving away so many years ago. Remember, Record Store Day. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. Wow, I guess I got a whole box. We probably all have old boxes of albums that I guess I got to buy a turntable now and start playing them, eh?
Well, and I've often mentioned that before, Discogs is a wonderful way to find, discogs.com, a wonderful way to find out the value of your LPs. Some of them are only worth 25 cents. Others could be worth hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, that's true.
Supply
Thanks, Ray.
and demand.
Yep, thanks, Ray. Okay, Hewie. Now, listen, you're going to talk about Facebook. I just want to remind everyone that we do have a Facebook page where all the latest, each day, Hewie, Bob, and I put all the latest technology articles that have just been done that day onto our page. No social chit chat, just technology articles. So please, and that's what we do in Tech for Senior Live. We look at all the articles. So go over and have a look at the Facebook page. And Huey's going to tell you how safe it is, right, Hewie?
Well, I'm going to talk about some tips and some ideas of what you might want to do. One of them has to do with a notice I've been getting. So take a listen.
Okay, thanks.
Facebook tips, the most recent versus top stories. I'm Hewie Poplock. Recently, I've seen several of my friends, and you may have seen some of your Facebook friends as well, post one of those copy and paste memes claiming the social network's new algorithm is limiting your news feed to posts from 26 friends. This meme first surfaced in late 2017. It's resurfaced each year since then and has been making the rounds again lately. Here's what it looks like. Thanks for the tip to circumvent Facebook. It works. I have a whole new profile. I see posts from people I didn't see anymore. Facebook's new algorithm picks the same people around 25 who will see your posts. Hold your finger anywhere in this post, click copy, and go to your page where it says what's on your mind and tap your finger in the empty field and paste. This is going to circumvent the system. Facebook wants you to know that this theory is totally bogus. In fact, they're even marking it on some posts that people have made as fake, and then they go in and say that it's false information, and then you can click on see why, and they actually have some articles that will explain it. And there's actually a good video on it on Facebook as well from Facebook. Here are a couple of news articles. One from the Washington Post, another from PC Magazine, and of course Snopes.com also rates it as false. So if you see this post or similar one, don't fall for it. The idea that news feeds only show you posts from a set number of friends is a myth, Facebook product manager said. He works on the newsfeed ranking and said in a statement, the goal of the newsfeed is to show you the posts that matter to you so that you have an enjoyable experience. If we somehow blocked you from seeing content from everyone but a small set of your friends, odds are you wouldn't return. Facebook says it ranks news feeds posts based on what it thinks you'll find most interesting. The company's algorithms prioritize posts expected to spark conversations and the ones shared by people, groups, or pages with whom you frequently interact. If you and a friend often comment on each other's posts, you'll see their content higher up in the news feed than posts from acquaintances with whom you never interact. Live videos, meanwhile, rank higher than regular ones because Facebook says they generate more discussion. Facebook states that the persistence of the 26 friends myth is understandable as the posts in a user's newsfeed are ranked in the order Facebook believes they'll be most interested in seeing. Facebook further states that the newsfeed algorithms prioritize posts that are predicted to spark conversation among people, whether because of format, for example, live videos tend to lead more discussions than regular videos, or because the posts were shared by people, groups, or pages you interact with frequently. The most recent button allowed Facebook users to change the algorithm in the newsfeed, which means that instead of showing users what data thought they would want to see, you can get updates in real-time format. However, Facebook, like all apps, regularly releases updates which can change the functionality and layout of the app. Facebook recently introduced a change of features to the Android version of Facebook, which iPhone users can expect in the future. Luckily, the button is still on the app, but it's just placed in a different location. Here's how you can find the most recent button on your desktop. Click the left-hand side of the newsfeed under the search tool. Click on Most Recent Button. Some users may have to click See More before the button is visible, and I'm going to show you what that is here in a few seconds. To find the button on your mobile app for iPhone, after entering the app, press the menu button at the bottom right. It appears as a 3-line image and is called a hamburger menu. Select the most recent on the right-hand side. Again, some users may have to click See More before it becomes visible. After the iOS update in the coming weeks, iPhone users can expect the app to use the below method, which Android users currently use. To find the most recent button on Facebook for Android, once you enter the app, Android users should have a new feed filter row at the top of the page when they scroll up, which includes Home, Favorites, Recent. Select Recent. If the new filter is not visible to you, you may need to update the app or alternatively check for the most recent button on the hamburger menu at the top right. Here's the web version on a PC. You'll see that most recent is on the left. If you don't see it on the left, you may have to, at the bottom, click on See More, and when you do, find the most recent in that list on the left. And then what will be at the top of your feed, it will be most recent. Well, you'll see it on the left, and on the right, you can then go back to your top posts if you wish. So it's going to look like this. And you can see when I did that, the top item in the center says Just Now. So what it did is made it the most recent ones at the top, and you will see more of what you're looking for from your friends without having to be hoodwinked by that bogus copy and paste. Now the web version for Android, you click the menu, the hamburger menu on the top right. When you do, you'll see you'll have to scroll down. You may have to scroll down. You probably will. As you scroll down, you find most recent. You click on that. And again, whatever the most recent is will go to the top. And you'll see them in order. And so you may see some people that you haven't seen recently. Now the Android app, you go to the hamburger menu at the top right. You'll see Recent and Favorites. And you click on that, and again, it will have the most recent rise to the top. And you'll see that it says Recent just above that. The problem remains, however, there is no way in the web or in the app's versions for Facebook to remember that you prefer the most recent. and it will revert to top stories each time you access Facebook. Here is some help that was on my iPhone. And again, how to get to it. So that's some Facebook tips. Don't copy and paste to get the most recent. Just get the most recent. And you'll see a lot of people you haven't been seeing on your timeline. More coming about Facebook tips soon. I'm Hewie Poplock.
Thank you so much. Great stuff. I had my Facebook page over on the left-hand side on the other screen. I was following you as you went along there. It was cool. Yeah. I didn't know a lot of that. That's cool. All right, Ray, are you getting? I'm just going to be saying goodbye to our streaming section,
I'll be
and
set.
we will we'll get you going in a second here. For those of you who are over on our streaming service, thank you for coming. We will see you the same time, same place next week. And also, this is being recorded, so you can play the entire broadcast back later on today. So thank you for coming. And Ray,